Let me at him!
Well, there it is. Hello, welcome to a free-for-all game, the Free-for-all Masters Sympo League. Market Square is the map this time. 8 players vying for it. 2 of them picking cheat colours, dark green and brown. We'll get around to those eventually. Oh, can I ask the host to hold? No, I cannot, because I'm currently in the game. So let's start off with our first player, from the looks of it, a cheeky human known as Ajih. I'll probably come up with an easier name for him later on. And above him is Ice Dragon, otherwise known as Ina, the guy that's basically very rude to me a while ago, but has since made up for it. And he's on close... He's being watched, basically. If he slips just once, then he will be punished. But he's the Orc. Not going for a barracks by the looks of it, so some Blade Master harass shenanigans, maybe. Above him is Noex, who is a human player, and he's opting for the old blockaroo of the ramp, so that's a smart move, especially for later on. Next to him, Gradient, Orange Night Elf. Got a nice little decent start, altar, Ancient of War. Basically, you can't do too much Ancient of War shenanigans unless you're super risky and build your Ancient of War here to create this, but that's really, really risky. But perhaps you have to take those kind of risks. But to be fair, there's a lot of human players, and if they send militia, your Ancient of War ain't going to survive very long. So we've got Fail Fort, the blue human, Archmage Footman to begin with. Underneath him, more humans. So I think we might actually see a human win this game. They didn't do very well in the last free-for-all that I casted, but in this one we've got enough humans that statistically they probably should end up winning. We've got Archmage Footman shenanigans from So-So. And we have a couple of undeads, and the first one being Eshan, who was previously playing Orc in the last free-for-all that I covered, and he's now undead. Probably got overwhelmed by the Dreadlord imbalance of Infernals, and it's like, screw you, I'm building my own Dreadlord instead. And we've got Death Knight coming out from a Razor, who was undead in the other game as well. So Ice Dragon's Peon has scouted as far as it's going to scout, and it won't get much further. Might just call him a Jack, or Jack for short, this guy. He's going to move on to start creeping. Or is he going to be aggressive? Or is he going to be passively aggressively creeping? No, he's going to... Oh. Is he going to try something really funky? And is it going to work? I want to keep an eye on that. We've got some fast creeping here for So-So. I need to keep an eye on this, because this could really be fantastic or really terrible. This is probably tricks of the trade here, people. It's getting ready to probably surround the Bandit Lord, but if this works, I'm going to have to try and remember to do this. Ah, okay, he's using militia. Okay, that's... I was going to say, I thought he was going to do it just like 2 free footmen and a water elemental. He's trying to get like a surround or something. This is either going to go really well or really badly. Summon Rush, that's true. The Bandit Lord, who is a level 7 dude, does actually drop. And it's... Does he drop Inferno? Oh, he... he got the best one! He got the best one! He drops summonable items. For example, you could get Infernal, you could get the Furbolg Ursa that can basically stomp. Oh god, I wish I put the D&D on. I'm going to get this all the way through the game. You put me on. You get the Dreadlord. Is it? No, not the Dreadlord. The freaking... what's it called? The big dude with wings that has a flaming sword. For some reason, I've forgotten his name. Probably because I'm trying to think about it. That really annoys me. But that guy. Doomguard. There we go. You got the the Doomguard. You got all sorts of powerful stuff. Or you've got the crappy Scroll of Animate Dead. Or Scroll of Resurrection, which is slightly better. But yeah, really powerful item. Very important to try to create these camps, these red ones, right away. And very, very important to do the corner spots in something like a free-for-all, because you can get like Kellen's Dagger of Escape, which is like a game-breaking item. Looks like both the undeads are actually messing with each other. How are they gonna... Oh, they're not gonna like this though, because they probably want to get off to the best possible start. But it looks like Steppin's being backed off. Yep. Eshan's going to take this expansion for himself. They both had the same idea. Oh my god! Step in! Yeah, he just left the game immediately the moment he saw that. Wow, that guy has had a rough time. He was doing really well in the last game that I covered. And then he just kind of got pushed out of the game, eventually. He was looking like one of the strongest players, but this is like the worst combo possible. You just got creep jacked, forced to use your town portal, you lost your expansion potential, and then a human player turns up with an army and it drops an inferno on you. Oh my god. That is one hell of a start for a Jack.
Righto.
He's really in a good spot there. Eshan securing that expansion down there, and potentially the next Inferno Stone to drop. Meanwhile, at the top here, we've got, oh my goodness, Goblin Tinker could be pretty amazing. From Gradient, who's got a whole ton of archers, thanks to that frisky Ancient of War. Now there's 2 of them. And Failfort is pushed back ever so slightly, but he has got himself an assassin, so did he pop over to the mercenary camp to get that? Players are really going out of their way to creep down these bandit lords earlier. I have to do that in my 4 versus 4 RT game, but to be fair, I get sniped so freaking much, it's very unlikely that I'll ever be able to pull it off and get the item and not be killed doing it. Nox going for a very defensive main base, but his ramp area isn't quite so defended. What item are we going to get? I need to keep an eye on the bottom player as well. I'll do that now actually, because you got... What did you get? Oh! Did he kill it? I'm pretty sure it was Eshan that was creeping it, wasn't it? No, he's still alive. Okay. And we've got Amulet of the Wild. Okay, that's the one that summons the Furbolg Ulcer. So Ajax can use this Infernal to basically really easily creep these very powerful creeps. So that's another huge reason to do those earlier on, because they give you so much potential. Ooh, Eshan might be able to steal the kill here on the Bandit Lord, or even potentially the item. A lot of threat being put down onto the Death Knight, trying to keep him back. Who's going to get the Bandit Lord? He's on the right side or the left side. Who's going to get around it? Looks like, oh, okay, it is a Jack that gets the next one, but it's the Scroll of Animate Dead. The worst one he could do, he could get, but at the same time, it's still better than nothing, and it's a fair bit of gold. Bear in mind, he's already got an expansion here, and it's not even one of the natural expansions. It's like an extra additional bonus expansion when you get a main base that belonged to a previous player. Gradient's creeping up at the top right. Nox sticking to his tower strategy, which is definitely very solid. And Ice Dragon building up the Blade Master. Claws of Attack +9, Circle of Nobility, very nice indeed. It's going to take him a while to get through that freaking Siege Golem though, despite that. A Jack might be going for potentially another expansion, or at least securing the creeps to be killed. Oh my goodness, Panda. Yeah, Night Elf have a lot of potential for free-for-all situations. Their buildings might be a little bit vulnerable later on, but we could see some real weird shenanigans from a sort of Goblin Tinker and Panda combo. They could do a lot of damage potentially to someone's base. So when it comes down to base races, they could be very, very powerful. So. Not really powerful enough to take on the Red Creek camp, but I wouldn't be surprised if he tries it, just because the items you can get are just so worthwhile potentially. Failfort with his expansion secured, Nox expansion secured, Gradient expansion secured, so like I said, and Eshan, yeah. So the and Ice Dragon's cheating brown colour has also secured it, and he's going for the red spot, and his Blade Master is up to level 4, so he's doing quite well on that. Got a Tauren Chieftain that's going to be rolling over with a healing salve to heal up his army after creeping that. And we've got the Panda from Nox as his second hero, moving on to creep up this red spot. And we've got 2 players, So's down here, he doesn't know what's going on over there. And Eshan should be able to pick up a Dark Wizard kill in a second. What did the item that he got? There we go, we're going to see Dark Wizard 8, that's the one we're looking for, that's the guy. So down here, he's going to drop... Orb of Frost. Probably one of the worst items you can get. It's not bad, but don't forget that Undead have Orb of Corruption, which in my opinion is better. But to be fair, Orb of Frost, if you had that on your Dark Ranger, would be pretty good. People very rarely use the actual Black Arrow effect of Dark Ranger late game. So yeah, that could be still quite good. but I'd definitely value Orb of Corruption over. Now the Dark Wizard in the middle is really the most important. I can understand the Mass Archers here because they've got a decent DPS, and the Panda just needs to somehow survive here. If you can pick up the item, get that item. You're too far away from the... You want to pick up the item, dude. Mask of Death! Oh my god, it's like one of the best items you could possibly get, but it's way better on a Blade Master or a Demon Hunter, but even then it's still going to be pretty damn useful for a Panda later on. Unless it doesn't stack with the Drunken Brawler. No, that's a crit effect. I think it will still stack with that. And if it does, actually, you're going to get real good health benefits from a crit. That's why Blade Master is so good with Mask of Death, because he can practically self-heal himself, which is insane, really, when you think about it, considering how much damage he does. Super high damage, and he heals himself for the damage he does. That's pretty crazy. Or heals himself for a proportion of it. So, more creeping going on here, by the looks of it. Finishing up the scraps of what was left of this bandit camp. This gold mine's provided quite a lot of gold for Jack. So, righto. If the humans get powerful, we're going to see lots of steam tanks rolling around, I think, eventually. A Jack about to get creep jacked, or not. Ice Dragon doesn't want to commit to this, which is weird. Not sure if they're on a sort of like truce, but that would seem like a good opportunity to try and creep jack. But what? Creep jack, but we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, over the top here. Orb of Frost. Okay, that's better for humans because their Orb of Fire sucks. So Orb of Frost is definitely better for humans, and Mountain King could definitely utilise it because not only has he got Bash to sort of stun and stop a unit, but now he's got Orb of Frost, which slows them enough that he can continuously attack that unit without them escaping very easily, and then probably proc off more Bash hits. So that's pretty damn good for the Mountain King, to be quite frank with you, Orb of Frost. He's not an agility hero, but he still can make use of that very well. Okay. This castle with the Paladin, so a standard safe style for a Jack by the looks of it. So Archmage, Mountain King and Paladin. Attacks going up here. Ice Dragon looks like his expansion is being threatened by Noex, who has a much more secure expansion, but is he going to now lose it, or is he... No, it looks like yeah, Ice Dragon's going to have to come back for that. That's a level 5 Blade Master with Claws of Attack plus 15. Oh my god. He got the best item. Oh my god! If he only got the Mask of Death as well, he'd be set for this game. Did you see how much damage that Archmage took? My goodness. Oh yeah, the teleport just before the stomp. That is so vital. That's a lot of Hippo Riders. And Noex, once again, like the freaking Stepping Razor earlier on, teleports back after being in such a threatened position, only to be threatened even further. Players get picked off quite easily this way. That is harsh. See, once again, just like the other play, he teleports back and then it has basically something he can't possibly deal with. He can run behind the towers, but it's a lot to lose. So that aggressive move by him has really cost him the game. It really has. Not that he knew that was going to happen, but that genuinely did cost him the game. And it looks like Ice Dragon is able to basically mop this up quite comfortably, but underneath is Failfort also trying to mop this up with the Orb of Frost and his Mountain King, but a little bit scary because I'd say Ice Dragon's in a more comfortable position. We've even got a cheeky Wisp coming in here to scout, but it's not going to last very long. Down at the bottom left, we can see the Kellen's Dagger of Escape. Yes! That's what we want to see. That's what we want to see. Apparently the Paladin's going to be rocking that, where he's the only one that's picking it up because he's getting the experience, and that's why it's important to get those heroes out pretty early and to build them up as much as possible, because otherwise you just end up having like a third hero that's like level 1 or 2 that keeps getting killed every time you resurrect them, and they get killed again, and they never get past that level 1 to 2 stage. Looks like Gradient is securing this expansion up at the top here, so he says this is mine. Ice Dragon says this expansion down here is mine. Failfort backs off. Is he going to poke into that, or is he going to try to look for more creep camps? I don't think there's anything left to creep. The map has been, apart from this bit at the bottom left, almost dealt with. There's 1 or 2 green camps I can see in the minimap. Yeah, but if you're curious as to what Kellen's Dagger of Escape does, it's basically the Warden's Blink ability on a cooldown. And I just missed the Paladin using it because it's on cooldown now. But basically he could blink, he could teleport from here to here instantly. and you can see it's probably got what looks like about a 30 to 45 second cooldown. So it's pretty long, but it's a lifesaver. It's like a scroll of speed, that reminds me of. Or a quick way to escape, potentially. Or to jump into a battle and nuke. Good for a Mountain King. Raider going down. Gradient, pretty dominant so far, actually, because the Hippo Riders will allow him to be mobile and seize control of many places. He's even taking the expansion here, he's got expansion there, and he's going for that up there. So Ice Dragon, with his Blade Master, needs an orb. Has he got tier 3? He does. He really needs to get... There we go. He's got the Orb of Lightning. So he can actually at least do something about those Hippo Riders. But his Orc army isn't particularly strong for him. He's trying to nuke down the Panda, but Blade Master needs to stay alive. He's got a really good invulnerability potion to do it, and he needs to use it in a second. Oh, the Panda saved it the last possible second. That's 8 health on that Panda. That's really nice move from there from Gradient. Very high level play there. That was saving it to the last possible moment you could do there. Like I say, Ice Dragon doesn't really have an army to deal with these Hippo Riders. Believe me, they do more damage than they look like they do. When they're stacked up to that level, that's 70 food's worth. All he can do is basically build these bats over time and slowly sort of like siege them down, but he needs to pump those bats out and then hit at once. And he's going to have to basically almost sacrifice that expansion to say, you know what, for the next 5 minutes, I can't have an expansion. I've got to build up some bats and then I can go for an expansion. But fail for up to tier 3 already with the triple hero, and the tanks opting for that build. Like I did say, the tanks are going to be so key, and there's a lot of humans and they're going to be tanking the hell out of this game. Down at the bottom left we've got a Jax expansion that he stole early on, being dealt with by Eshen's tier 3 army of the undead. Feels like we jumped up to tier 3 and all that really quick this game, considering how small this map is. Everyone seems to have tier 3 armies within like 10 minutes. It's pretty impressive. They've actually done quite well macro wise. Dragonhawks though for Jack, since he's seen the Frostworms, they're now teleporting to an expansion to defend versus a Jack with his tanks, who's teleporting out because he doesn't want to possibly lose anything. He's just like, yep, can't do much more here, get out of this situation. Banshee's also there for Eshen, so it's interesting. Huge dependency on the Hippo Riders, and I don't know whether there is a third hero yet for Gradient, so need to keep an eye on that. Ina, you're going to have to come off, by the way. Yeah, sorry, I didn't know that. If you're still in the chat room, Ina, then we'll have to basically kick you out for the time being. To be fair, I don't think I can do much about it, but that's what I'll have to do. So let's have a look. We've got a big old battle going on over here. Jack, he's got a decent chunk of steam tanks, but they can be picked off by the Frostworms and the Orb of Corruption. So the rest of the army needs to jump in here, slow down those Frostworms, whilst he engages and tries to pick off Fiends and whatever he can do. I don't know if he can pick off any heroes particularly at this moment. Lich is tempting at level 2. It's quite a low level, but at the same time, his Frostworms are going down. The tanks are doing quite a good job overall here. Banshee's going to be casting the curse all over the shop. Over at the top right here, we've got Gradient, who actually is suffering a little bit because these steam tanks are pretty useful for him, but at the same time he's been smart, he's dismounted his archers, so he's able to siege somewhat the tanks, so to speak, from a distance, and Balefort is in his little position, but at the same time Gradient's got his position, and in the middle we got sort of like, okay, Ice Dragon fighting back versus Gradient's expansion, aggressive expansion taken there. And the level 5 Tinker's been brought down there. So Gradient lost his level 5 Goblin Tinker. He went for a Pit Lord as his third hero by the looks of it. He's got the Ancients up. So this is the slight problem I was mentioning earlier, is the Night Elf bases and Ancient stuff like that are actually really kind of vulnerable. Like, they have good potential for free-for-all because of Moonwells and the neutral heroes they can utilize, but at the same time, they're kind of squishy versus tanks and stuff like that. The other races do have quite an advantage versus Night Elves, I think, in the long run, which is why you probably won't see Night Elves typically do that well. Yeah, Ice Dragon's punishing Gradient. If Gradient could have stayed alive for like another 5 minutes or something, he would have been really good and able to build a bit more defense, I think. But he got very aggressive there with his expanding and basically tried to take everywhere, and now he's being kind of punished for it. It's a gamble you take, but it happens. He is able to basically probably deal with his situation, but he's lost a fair bit during this, and it looks like we've got a Jack trying to take on Eshan's expansion. Meanwhile, he's trying to retake his expansion that he went for earlier. Now, So got probably the most well-rounded army, I think. A bit of everything. Is it going to be a risk? Oh, they kind of just waltz past each other. Gradient did manage to push back Fail Fort, but a lot of damage was taken during that process. Not only his main base, but the fact that he couldn't defend his other expansions that he aggressively took earlier on. So Ice Dragon's actually in a pretty good position to defend here. Like, oh my goodness, down goes the Shadow Hunter. No way to keep him alive, I suppose, in that situation. Down he goes. Blade Master is basically the key to coming back here. Slow is going to really deal with these Wyverns and the Blade Master. There's no Spirit Walkers to really get rid of the slow effect, which is what I was thinking really was like, So should he be doing this attack? Is he really wanting to risk this? But at the same time, actually, he looks like he's able to deal with this. Like, the human tier 2 army will crush Orc if the Orc doesn't have the appropriate counters, and that currently is the case for Ice Dragon. And Esham is currently being pushed back because a Jack is looking very strong at 84 food, dealing with the army, but at the same time the expansion. So he's looking very good on that front. Gradient's got a bit of time to rebuild, I think, at this situation. And now the teaming is beginning, by the looks of it. Ice Dragon looking for an opportunity to try to stay alive, but that's not going to be the case for his Shadow Hunter. Oh, maybe Speed Scroll and the Potion of Healing keeps him alive for probably another 10 seconds, if that, before he goes down to pretty much anything. Poor Ice Dragon, looks like he's down at the moment, so that is probably it for him, I would say. Jack, very strong player. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably an experienced free-for-all player of a high caliber. I don't know all of these players. I'm not that experienced in the casting scene, so I couldn't necessarily say, oh, this player's been playing the free-for-all circuit for 4 years now and he's won this many cups, and I couldn't tell you that kind of information because I don't know it. But all I can tell you is that his play style and the way he moves and acts seems to be on a high level play, like more of a pro level play, above sort of like an amateur level that I would be on. There's things he's kind of doing that seem a bit more advanced than I would be capable of. But is he going to be punished here? No, he's smart. He's getting out of the situation. He realizes when it's time to go and when it's time to stay. As tempting as it would be to stay there and basically sort of like carry on trying to finish that off, you got to go. Otherwise, you're going to take too many losses. So this expansion is going down. Eshan is like, you better not try to take another expansion. So the only problem a Jack has right now is that he's at a very high food count without, well, I suppose it's not really a problem, because if you were mining gold, you wouldn't be getting much gold. Whilst you're above 80 food, you get 3 gold per peon. So yeah, not a fantastic amount, but it's still important to have the expansions even if you're not mining them, just to secure them. You can hear my voice is starting to screw up a bit now, but I'll try to do what I can. Fail Fort, huge amount of tanks, and Ice Dragon hasn't really got many places to run to before. Well, that's it now. He went to Windwalk, so I think he's here. Yeah. Nice. That's a big chunk of experience there for your Fail Fort, so that's pretty handy. And he's able to push further. He's securing quite a few expansions, or expansion potentials, and Gradient once more is getting punished by Fail Fort, so he has to back off here. Gradient really, unfortunately for him, it's going to take a while to get back into this game. I think he was really a good player, to be honest. He's done quite well. He's built up smartly, but he just kind of got screwed by getting a little bit too greedy and then being attacked by 2 players at the same time. And no matter how good you are, when that kind of thing is happening, you can't really outplay it enough. He outplayed it to the extent that he could stay alive, but he's had to pay the price of basically being essentially out of the game for like 5 to 10 minutes potentially. Okay. So we got So. Let's not forget about him. He's been doing pretty damn well this game. He's got his eclectic mix, and he's gone for an expansion on the other side of the map, essentially, to him. So that is risky, but he might be able to hold his own. He's got the army to basically deal with anything, unless he comes across like 100 food of wyverns or something like that. Now this undead army is looking pretty awesome. We actually get to see some anti-magic shield action. That's mostly because of the human and the griffin riders, because they have magic damage, as well as it helps versus storm bolts and that kind of shenanigan. Jack is looking so strong though. He's got the other sort of version of the human army in a free-fall situation. Soso's focused a bit more on the casters. Jack's focused more on the sort of the breakers and the tanks and the griffins. So I think he's in a better position really overall, but I don't think you should knock really the casters. I think they're useful, at least to have a couple of them dipped in here and there. Gradient kind of like dotting around the map, trying to look for opportunities to creep. If not, opportunities to punish a base for more experience. Come on now, I think you're running out of those now, aren't you? I hate Muslims. You must be running out of those. Freaking long list of those freaking things. Okay, so fail fort. Staff of Sanctuaries ahoy on those heroes. Gradient has found his punishment spot and he's going to build up that Tinker. I want to see a level 6 Tinker this game. But, lo and behold, not far away is Eshan, going for a creep jack there. So Jack might actually manage to hold on to that expansion in the long run here. Looks like the Hippo Riders are intercepting here. The Gargs are coming in though, they're going to be useful. Coil saving that Frostworm, which means a lot of the damage has been mitigated there. So a lot of Gradient's potential damage has basically been neutralized, and he's actually managed to force Eshan back, surprisingly enough. But I don't think Eshan was losing that one. I think he could have stayed there. Oh no, maybe something else is going down. Yep, okay. So he was getting a bit of threat from Soso. I get it. I was going to say, you didn't really need to get back from that fight, and everyone's meeting up, so whilst Soso's in a position to punish Eshan, Jack is in a position to punish Soso. But he's really brave to try to go in here, knowing that the other player is there, unless there is some teaming going on at that point. Or like some sort of mutual sort of, look, okay, we both want to kill this guy, you let me do it, and you back off, and I won't do anything to you. And I think that's how this is rolling out. Gradient rolling on with the Panda. Jack cornering himself in the safety position over here whilst his tanks can sort of deal with the undead air army, and then he can intercept from the west side. There's a lot of towers though here for Eshan, so he's in a pretty good position, but the towers need to fight for quite a long time before they're truly worthwhile. Griffins might be getting picked off though. There's too much running away from a Jack as he tries to reposition himself. The Death Knight might be getting focused here, but no, it was a stun on the Stormbolt on the Frostworm. So it looks like the Frostworm was the target there, but it's too far away now. Over here we look like Eshan is being punished even further. So knowing that this main base is being dealt with, is trying to make sure that Eshan doesn't stay in the game. Especially since he was quite a threat in the last one, there might be more reason to pick him off this time. So he's going to basically pick off the expansion. So this is definitely a map where players' main bases and expansions are getting picked off at the same time. It's really quite nasty. Okay, a Jack may be pushing his luck too far, and he's going to lose a fair few units as he tries to intercept this undead army right at the back of its base. But is Eshan able to do enough here? He's got 1500 gold, 70 food. He's staying alive. The ghouls are coming into use now, but the Dreadlord's about to go down. Oh, the Coil saves it. Beautiful save there. Picking up a potion of mana and scroll of healing just to keep himself some more longevity, as the Mountain King now doesn't have any Stormbolts left, and it looks like a Jack has got out of this situation. 44 food left for a Jack, so he's done some huge damage there, but he's lost a lot for it, and Gradient is now being punished once more by Fail Fort as the tanks roll in. I don't know what Night Elf do versus this, really. I don't know. This looks super... Yeah. You tell me what you do about that right now. I sound like Tillerman. So. The human army is stronger than your army. You tell me what I do. You tell me what I do right now. A couple of fiends? Necromancers maybe? Or maybe. Oh my goodness, I apologise for that accent, but seriously, what the hell do you do versus that? Poor Gradient. I suppose he's counter-attacking a little bit here whilst he tries to go for like sneaky trees of life and steal up some sort of gold and stay alive that way and hope that they don't get killed, but there's not much else he can do. Fail fort. Wow, this base, look at that. Anyway, let's get back to that base in a moment, as Soso's proving to be more of a pest to Eshan after the other human player. A Jack had his go. Sounds like a dirty porn film. But anyway, Soso's turn, and Eshan is taking it like a true champ. The Furbolg Ulcer is moving in. Is he going to throw down a war stomp? To that degree, come on! Oh, there it is! And the Death Knight is stunned. The anti-magic shield doesn't stop those kind of spell effects going off, such as the stuns and stuff like that. But it does help versus the magical damage. And Eshan is having a real tough game, because if he runs away from this, the more of his base is going to be destroyed. But he's got nowhere else left to go. He's only got his main base left. So what can he do? Oh god. And then we've got Gradient with more potential expansion potentials. Despite this expansion already being taken, what choice does he have? Like I say, he just has to kind of chuck down expansions everywhere and hope that players don't really notice them all, and then he can build up gold and rebuild that way. Eshan's about to lose his Death Knight. Even if he wanted a town portal, he couldn't, because he doesn't have a town portal, so he can't go invulnerable. Down goes the Dreadlord. The human army is stronger than your army, and it looks like Eshan is out of the game. A strong player has been defeated. Gradient with his level 5 Tinker is back, but Failfort is just not giving him a chance to breathe. It really is relentless. Failfort's doing really well, actually. I kind of underrated him a little bit earlier on, but it looks like he's able to do something here this game. He's got a lot of expansion potentials as the other human players. Oh my god, this is becoming like the undeads of last game, isn't it? Human, human, human. And the Night Elf that is left is basically dead. I suppose a human mirror match is probably the best though for free-for-all standoffs in terms of a viewership point of view. Because in the undead one it was really difficult for people to truly siege down people's bases. It had to be done by sort of like slow sieging from an infernal, whereas humans have the advantages of tanks of truly killing like players' bases pretty quickly, and there's not much you can do about it. So it will speed up the process of these stalemate base race situations. So it's been a while since I've looked at the heroes, but let's do that. So let's look at a Jack. So again, Periapter Vitality seems to be the item to go for as a free-for-all player, without a doubt. Staff of Sanctuary, very strong item there. Invulnerability and Town Portal. Is that Gradient's last building up here? That might actually be his last one. Let's see if he comes out of the game. No. So, Mountain King with the Kellen's Dagger escape. Like I say, that is huge. Really big deal that is, Kellen's Dagger escape on a Mountain King. You're talking about blinking towards someone if they're trying to run away and Stormbolt on them. Huge. And a Jack who looks like he's got nothing, but he's still a level 4 Paladin. So 5, 4 and 4. So rolling with a 5, 4. Where's the Mountain King? He's invisible. 5, 5 and 4. So he's actually very similar. 2 Periaps, Claws of Attack plus 9. Lots of items on his heroes though. He's really pimped out those heroes. And he's teleporting with his Archmage level 6 over to a Jack to try and punish this. So it's actually between So and a Jack. And a Jack, whilst he's been very strong this game, in my opinion, unfortunately just kind of lost his expansion potentials, and I think that might be too much for him now. And like I say, there's no way to outplay this. I think that might be it. So looks like he's got this under control, so yeah. With mass teleport, tanks, morts, a Jack can't possibly get away with an expansion. So even if a Jack was able to out-micro this, you can't deal with this. It's So-So's got control, and it's up to him to screw it up, basically. If he wants to let a Jack win, it's up to that. So anyway, So-So's got an expansion here, here, and near. And this one's already gone. And the main gold mine isn't being mined because that's just spare gold. That's a good tactic to use because your main gold mine is your most secure gold mine. So if you can try to mine up the other gold mines, you want to do that and then save that for worst case scenarios. A Jack forced into a defensive position here that doesn't favour him all that much versus the Blizzard and the Mortar teams, but he has to make a move here, otherwise he's going to get sieged down even further. He needs to try to bring down one of these heroes if he can, but Invisible freaking Sorceress is just hiding away. Gradient was finally defeated somewhere else on the map. I didn't quite catch where that was, but everything's gone for the Night Elf player, leaving us with 3 human players, potentially being 2 human players right now. Jack having to pull back here. Still got a little bit of an army, but he's just slowly being sieged down quite nastily. So-So really performing very well here as human here. It didn't go too great for him last game, but yeah, he's stepping it up. That Dragonhawk is also dealing with those towers very nicely, so good little push here, good Blizzard pressure. So overall, nicely done by So-So, but I think he might need to sort of step away from this and sort of recuperate in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, Failfort probably wants to look at trying to take as many expansions as possible whilst those two are going at it. He doesn't know what's going on, but if it's very quiet, you might want to look at doing that. At least that's very easy for me to say that from a spectator point of view. If you're in the game, it's very different. But yeah, all I can say is from my point of view, take as many expansions as you possibly can, Failfort, because now is the time. Oh my goodness, these human players really going at it and staying alive. Blizzard's all over the frickin' shop. A Jack might be able to pull off. No, down goes the... there was no way to save him. The Staff of Sanctuary is already on cooldown. Damn. So down goes his Paladin. I think his Mountain King must be dead as well because I don't see it. So I didn't spot the Mountain King going down, but apparently that might be dead. And Paladin, the only thing he could probably kill from the So-So's army, hero-wise, is teleported back to base to comfortably heal. So that's unfortunate. Failfort. Very passive right now. And this is costing him, really, being this passive. He might think, oh, I've got an expansion here, I've got a couple of expansions, I'm good, but really he needs to just go nuts and take everything. Or be looking at other players and punishing them. I think a gyrocopter is probably a good investment, to be quite frank with you. 1 or 2 gyrocopters. On a map like this, you can quite quickly scout out what has been taken and what hasn't, what's available and where to go. I don't think a Jack's going to be able to hold up versus this. A rat player is sexy time playing. He likes to use the word rat. Oh, 3 siege tanks going down at the same time. Yikes. So, Eshan, you've been called out by a Jack. And Failfort has got the gyrocopter actually. He's not consistently scouting with it, but he's still got it, so that's nice. Thinking ahead of the curve there. Blizzard is definitely the go-to here. You get your time of retraining, you respect a Blizzard because it kicks frickin' ass. It's super underrated, Blizzard. It's probably the highest damage overall in terms of AoE, consistently over a period of time. I think Rain of Fire probably does the most burst damage, or Flame Strike. Flame Strike probably the most burst damage, next to them Rain of Fire. Blizzard probably afterwards, but Blizzard does more damage over time. And it's super frickin' cheap. Jack's TKing his own buildings now, in a sign of disrespect towards So-So. He just wants to finish this. He's like, look mate, let's just get this over with. And So-So being bad-mannered, killing the Archmage even quicker there. So that's pretty harsh. Level 5 Paladin, jeez. Level 6, and level 5 Paladin. This has been a very fast-paced game. I'm not sure what it's going to turn into, though, between Failfort. But we'll have to see how Failfort is really doing with his heroes. He's actually really not far behind. For some reason, I don't give him enough credit. I keep thinking, because he hasn't been an actor, I haven't seen him do that much other than punish sort of Gradient for being Night Elf. I feel like he's not doing much, but he's level 6, and he's level 5, and he's level 4. So he's not exactly, you know, far behind. He's obviously been doing something to get those kind of hero levels. No expansion, gold, gold. So he's got 2 gold mines, and So-So's run out of gold on 2 of these expansions. So technically he only has 1 expansion left, because the one at the top left got killed, I think, by Failfort. Failfort looking for some more aggressive expansions. And by that I mean basically expansions super aggressively across this side of the map that doesn't belong to you. So guard in the middle, rebuilding up his resources mana-wise, and picking off a few of Failfort's peasants, which are going to now be picked off by a couple of towers as well. Sweet makes a point here in the chat room saying that Failfort, if he was playing the true free-for-all game, probably would have taken the advantage of helping out a Jack whilst he was under pressure, and then punishing So-So either by destroying his bases or his expansions, or by attacking So-So whilst he was trying to bring down a Jack. You kind of have to do that in free-for-all, which is why I would never be a good free-for-all player, because I just don't have the patience to be like, I'm going to play this political game and kill you, then I'm going to stop attacking you and attack him, and then we're going to have a little truce where we attack 2 other players at the same time. I can't be bothered doing that. I ain't got the patience for it. Now it looks like we're going to have a big old battle where it really is going to kick off between the 2 human armies. Got 92 food here for Failfort, 76 food for So-So, so So-So's looking a little bit lower on the food count. Is his army stronger though? No, it isn't, because the Griffins are really punishing in here. We've got the mortars from the back, blizzards going off everywhere. Steam Tank's doing a good job versus the Failfort's air, and the Mountain Kings are really powerful at the moment. Failfort, unfortunately, at level 5, so he's able to he's unable to have the avatar that he desperately wishes right now, and Thunderclap basically doing huge damage here to Failfort's sort of like vulnerable human army, as well as his Mountain King probably going to be picked off in a second here with a Stormbolt if he's not careful. Just needs to wait a little bit longer. It looks like Failfort's forced to run away a little bit more. Down goes the Mountain King in a second. The Stormbolt is about to be afoot. There is a heal though. It's going to deny the Mountain King's death just for a little bit longer. No, there's no Star for Sanctuary save by the looks of it. And there is one for So-So though, as his Paladin skulks away a little bit there. The slow is somewhat useful, but the invulnerability goes up and the Mountain King gets more and more stronger for So-So. Steam Tanks still go for Failfort. His Steam Tanks have been reliable this game, but not much else has been. And down goes his Paladin as well, leaving his Archmage to try to throw down some Blizzard and get something out of that. But 3,400 gold is what Failfort is left with in this situation. And So-So has 10,000 gold, 79 food, and an army to just basically defeat pretty much anything left now. This is good move here by Failfort though, and it's what he has to do really, is just try to secure expansions and hope that he can sort of maintain them. Like, you're going to lose expansions over time as the enemy players try to pick them off, and you're like, well, okay, for every 3 expansions I build, 2 of them get killed. Well, I've still got that 1 expansion left. That's kind of one way you kind of want to look at it. It's hard to pull off, but if you do pull it off, then that's what basically wins you these kind of free-for-all games, is just constantly expanding and getting away with it. Huge teleport here that's going to do devastating damage to even the Archmage as well. Not only the expansion, but the Archmage, the last of Failfort's heroes, as he's only got a small, meager army left, and he desperately tries to get all of his heroes back from 1 altar. So I can understand the purpose of getting 2 altars in a free-for-all game when it gets to the late game stage, because in situations like that you kind of need 2 altars. And there is the GG. Oh really, thanks for that, Muslims. That's a lovely one to finish on. Okay, so there you go. Very, very fast, action-packed game there, with So-So playing above and beyond that game. A Jack probably would have been a huge threat to So-So, which is why I think that So-So really gave him a hard time. Like, earlier on I was saying he was not letting him expand. Anywhere he was like, nope, nope. Anyway, this is where you might expand. I'm going there. I'm destroying whatever's there. Because I think a Jack might have been able to put up a threat versus a So-So if he could stay in the game a little bit longer, but he lost his expansion and he didn't really have the resources to, you know, give him what he needed to stay in that game. So So-So played very solid there and basically just dominated. So very well done there for So. And a good game overall, very action-packed. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more stuff, especially Warcraft free stuff, since that's what you get at WTiiWarcraft on YouTube, as well as the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/witty, which is where I stream this from. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care. I'll see you later.